a couple of weeks ago, Hallie, when really the headlines were dominated by the Jeffrey Epstein controversy, and then the president was sort of trying to change the topic very obviously, and in many different venues, was trying to bring up these unsubstantiated claims about the role he argues former President Obama had in the 2016 election and trying to suppress some information that he says would have been damaging if it had come to light. And so then you had the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, come to the White House briefing room, come to the podium and try to share some of this alleged new evidence. Well, now you have the attorney general saying that they're going to try to take that information, which, remember, they had announced a strike force to look into what they call this new evidence and try to evaluate it to see if there could be any potential criminal indictments that they would follow. And the thing that matters here is that this is basically a grand jury investigation that's being launched, but that will happen in secret. This is behind closed doors, and it's completely unclear whether it will yield anything new. It's unclear that we will ever learn anything new about it because it could be under seal, but it really does bear repeating. This is looking into something for which there is no evidence to back it up, and it's really, it seems, a politically motivated move to keep the focus on one of the president's clear political foes and talk about basically anything else.
Evidence here, a grand jury looking, and if it's as clean and mundane as you say, then these people ought to have nothing to worry about. But why shouldn't we look into it? The people who complain about misinformation and disinformation all the time, why does half the country believe something that didn't happen?
Well, half the country believes a lot of dumb stuff, including a lot of dumb stuff that comes from Republicans, but nobody's trying to put anybody in prison over it. Listen, we live in a.
They tried to put Donald Trump in jail, man.
Hold on a second. They tried to put Donald Trump in jail over stuff that he actually he got indicted for, but the country went ahead and reelected him anyway. Look, my point is this. It is, in fact, the case. People believe a lot of wacky stuff and nutty stuff in my party and in your party. That is very different from the Department of Justice saying they're going to put somebody in prison over it. That's a different world. We've not been in a world before. Listen, you served in the White House. I served in the White House. The idea you're going to somehow now go to jail because people misinterpreted what you did in there, I think this is very, very scary stuff, man.
Scott?
Look, I mean, we're obviously going to see this differently, and you and I have agreed about many things regarding the last few years. But on this, my view is that it has become obvious that what happened as Donald Trump was coming in and Barack Obama was going out bears some amount of investigation. And again, if you're right, all these people, they should have nothing to worry about. But there's a lot of people out there that have looked at this and decided that, intelligence was changed and ignored, and there were career people in the intelligence services saying we can't use the Steele dossier and so on and so forth. So at some point, people are just asking, how do you get accountability? Why does half the country believe Russia stole an election? Where is the accountability for that? Did people abuse their positions? Did they perjure themselves? Did they willfully mislead the American people? How do you get accountability for it? That's the question here.
Hey, that D for Democrat really stands for double standards. Different. It's always different when a Democrat does it, right? And in this intro, you saw from the intro, I showed you a clip from MSNBC. Then I showed you Scott Jennings and Van Jones debating over the fact that, hey, if there's something going on here, we should investigate, right? If you want accountability, how do you hold someone accountable for essentially using their position of authority to perpetrate a narrative that they knowingly knew wasn't true? All their investigations based on Trump was on this idea that, Russia helped Trump win the election. Russia possibly colluded with Trump to win the election. Oh, Russia meddled in our election. But they already knew to what degree that Russia meddled in our election. But they try to frame it as if, it was come to help Trump. It was here to help Trump. And look how the media cover it. Because the reason why a lot of people distrust the media, and I already talk about it a lot, like the media has a liberal bias. Their liberal bias corrupts the profession of journalism. Is too overwhelmingly politically dominated by the left, and you see it in their reporting. Generally shocked in its duplicity, even for this jaded reporter. And it was the idea that everything she's saying right now, if I had just took in the same clip and applied it to what Joe Biden was doing to Donald Trump, what Democrats was doing to Donald Trump, trying to remove his name from the ballot, trying to they raided his house in Mar-a-Lago, saying that no one's above the law. Remember, all the Democrats were saying that. But now when these political chickens have come home to roost on the Democratic doorstep, they want to play victim. This is all political. You're literally saying the same thing Republicans were saying in 2020. Except the only difference is Republicans didn't break precedent to do it. You did. You guys did.
The Attorney General would say such a thing. He just has a feeling that there was spying against the campaign. We're losing sight here of what started all this, and that was the Russian meddling, the Russian interference in our election process. And the Russians pose a profound threat to this country.
So that's from no evidence to profound threat. That's quite a leap. And what about President Obama? A declassified document dated December 9th, 2016, reveals the intel community was working to produce a new assessment per Obama's request and seeking participation from the CIA, FBI, NSA, and DHS. Around that same time, here's what President Obama was saying publicly.
When I look back in terms of how we handled it, I think we handled it the way it should have been handled. Unless the American people genuinely think that the professionals in the CIA, the FBI, our entire intelligence infrastructure are less trustworthy than the Russians, then people should pay attention to what our intelligence agencies say.
As for anyone questioning why a new assessment was ordered, they were quickly silenced. This from a late December 2016. Quote, due to the ODNI whistleblowers questioning his leadership about why an IC assessment was being created that contradicted multiple IC assessments, the whistleblower is immediately removed from emails regarding the drafting of Obama-ordered IC assessment. Former FBI Director James Comey had no problem sticking by the intelligence community.
There should be no fuzz on this whatsoever. The Russians interfered in our election during the 2016 cycle. They did it with purpose. They did it with sophistication. They did it with overwhelming technical efforts. And it was an active measures campaign driven from the top of that government. There is no fuzz on that. It is a high confidence judgment of the entire intelligence community. And the members of this committee have seen the intelligence.
So with that flashback, you get an idea of why Republicans believe that they have some grounds to investigate this. The same way they wanted to investigate Donald Trump to make sure that he wasn't colluding with Russia, right? They spent what? They took half his presidencies doing that. And now it's, to me, as an independent, this is like Democrats, you're getting your medicine. You're getting to taste of your medicine. You're living by your principles. No one's above the law, correct? And this is the funny part. Every Democrat and their mom was saying, no one's above the law, no one's above the law, no one's above the law. And when Republicans take you literally, you cry foul? Huh? How that makes sense? And then this is the last 2 minutes of the discussion on this video here. It's going to do a complete 180. Van Jones is going to sound like Republicans during the 2024 election campaign.
Did they perjure themselves? Did they willfully mislead the American people? How do you get accountability for it? That's the question here.
Scott, can I ask you, though, is this, in your eyes, is this would be the final judgment on that? It wasn't the Durham report. It wasn't the Senate Intelligence Committee run by Marco Rubio report. It wasn't the House and Senate efforts in the last 6-7 years to look into this. This is the final one. After this, you'll believe whatever it is?
Well, I mean, I would think so. I mean, typically an investigation like this from the justice system would be the end of the line. I mean, you'll find out whether anybody did commit criminal acts or not. And again, I don't know whether they did or they didn't. And so if Van is right and everything was above board and this was all just mundane policy differences, then I don't know why anybody would be worried about having their actions scrutinized. It seems to me that a hit dog hollers. And right now, the hit dogs are hollering. And I'm just telling you, enough has come forward.
Ain't that the truth? Hit dogs are hollering. That's the Democratic Party. That's how I see it as an American. You're a hit dog hollering. You did something. You did something that wasn't above board, that wasn't actually up to snuff. It was merely political, like the analysis coming from these economists, like the analysis that come from many liberal panelists, liberal journalists who can't seem to push their bias out of the way, out of their process. It corrupts the result of their process. Bias corrupted Google Gemini AI when it was generating black George Washingtons and black Nazis. Y'all don't remember that? Because liberal bias, the liberal bias of the engineers working on the AI creeped into their work. And you see it in real time that these people, no self-awareness whatsoever. And you're going to see Van Jones in the next few minutes pretty much make the same arguments, make similar arguments in 2024.
For Republicans to believe that this
we
bears
just see
a
it
little
differently.
bit more investigation.
Look, we just see it differently. And listen, a grand jury that's not a little rock. That is somebody dropping a refrigerator on you if it comes through. And then you can spend 2 or 3 years.
I know. Donald Trump knows.
Well, and you can spend 2 or 3 years just proving that you're innocent, and you spend a whole bunch of money. And why are we doing this? Where it's damn near, I don't know.
Doesn't that sound like what Trump had to do in 2024? Oh my God, Trump has to raise money to defend himself. But look at how Van Jones spin it. He spent, oh my God, you can spend years trying to prove yourself. You spend a lot of money trying to prove yourself innocent. Isn't that what Donald Trump just finished doing? This is political payback. This is political karma. And it's baffling to me. Like, I know this is like a stereotyping here, political stereotyping, but it seems like the left lacks self-awareness. They lack how their actions are interpreted by people who are not them. The ridiculousness of this. But, let's finish it up.
I mean, hundreds of years later, I mean, the last like 6 months, it felt like 700 years. So I don't understand. Tulsi Gabbard has not put forward any allegation that is criminal, and here we are. And by the way, this is all a part of a whole series of things that Donald Trump has done, even this past couple of weeks, that just seems like he is just going to abuse every little bit of power that he has to go after people he doesn't like. He's snatching stuff out of the Smithsonian. He's doing all kind of stuff, none of which is making America any better, none of which is making anybody's grocery bills go down.
Wasn't Republicans saying that during Biden's administration when he was going after Trump? How does this help America? Look, Joe Biden, you just finished having the highest inflation rate in 40 years. How's going after Trump for documents that he has some claim to because he used to be a president of the United States and he has the right to declassify information? Why are you going after him? Why are you raiding his house? One of the possibilities is due to this action, these reports right now, because they were scared that Trump had some reports that would unmask the whole influence operation that Barack Obama was running with Hillary Clinton. That was one of the reasons, supposedly, that Joe Biden ordered the FBI to raid Mar-a-Lago, because they was trying to get those documents from Donald Trump's possession, apparently. They thought he had it. Right? Like, look how baffling this is. Oh, now you want to play this. This is what I'm talking about. This is why I believe, this is why Americans see Democrats that's why people have no trust in the Democrats. This is why the Democrats' popularity is on the floor. Because Americans see it. They see the duplicity. They're like, yo, you're the pot calling the kettle back. You made Donald Trump waste 2 years of his presidency trying to defend these claims of Russia collusion. And then 2025, we find out, all that was lies. All that was a political hit job, a political coordination with Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama to undermine the legitimacy of a duly elected president called Donald Trump because he's Donald Trump. Ridiculous. Now they expect us to, just go around. We're just going to go along with you. Oh, no, yes, Democrats, you're right. Nah. I think Democrats lost this one. Democrats lost this one bad. This is like 2025, to me, it comes across as political Uno reverse card on the Democratic Party. Everything Democrats said is like they put the noose around their neck. Like, these people stack all this stuff just for it to be used against them. No one's above the law. Accountability, right? It doesn't matter if you're a former president. If there's legitimate claims of you doing wrongdoing, you should be prosecuted. Democrats said all that about Donald Trump. Now Donald Trump is saying that verbatim about Barack Hussein Obama, and all of a sudden, it's a political hit job. Oh my God. You sound like Republicans in 2024. When you're dismissing our concerns, when you undermine our concerns, when you pretend that we're just being ridiculous. But I digress. Let's wrap up the video.
A lot of this stuff just seems like he's just petty white or petty wop or whatever. He's just the most petty president we've ever had. Can we just get on with getting the price of groceries down with what it's supposed to be running on?
All I'm going to say, beyond my appreciation for both of you, and I think you know that quite well, Jennings, you are lucky we didn't get into the Bureau of Labor Statistics, because I was going to welcome you into my Thunderdome, my friend, and it was not going to be pretty.
Fine.
So mark that down. We're going to get there eventually.
Why are the job numbers wrong every month? Why are the job numbers wrong every
No.
month?
You don't
Yeah, why the John numbers were wrong every month, huh? But you get an idea of what's going on here. Like these people, they want to say, "Oh my God, I don't know. Well, grocery prices are high. You should be focusing on that." But who put us there in the first place? Joe Biden, and what Joe Biden was doing during his administration? Exactly, going after Trump. And y'all said, "Oh, Trump, he can do this. This is not going to interfere with his job." Okay, Trump can say the same thing. Ridiculous, right? Don't start nothing, and don't be scared when the other person decides to finish it, right? And it was the same thing that Bill Clinton did after Trump won the election. He was like, "Okay, let's no more no more lawfare. Let's stop it." Oh, I called it out. I said, "Oh, how nice." Democrats want to call for unity. Democrats want to call for return to normalcy after they was allowed to throw haymakers at the Republicans and Donald Trump. And now that they got into power, they dust themselves off, getting ready to hit. Oh no! Let's make peace now. Let's make peace now. After you spend I don't know how long going after your political opponents. How nice? How que lindo? Democrats have this same pattern of behavior, and it's getting ridiculous. This is one of the reasons why I don't want to trust them with power at all. They feign being a victim now, and then the minute they in some position of power, that's when their true colors show. But I digress. I think the number one reason why a lot of Democrats don't like Trump is because they believe like whatever they do to the Republicans, Donald Trump will do back to them. And the gerrymandering in the Texas stuff, with Texas redrawing the map, is a prime example. Republicans do that, then it shines light on what the Democrats are doing. Oh, Democrats are gerrymandering this whole time. Democrats have some of the worst gerrymandering maps, according to research done by some college institution. A lot of them get graded Fs because of how gerrymandered these states are. Maryland being another one. And the cases keep building against Democrats that, your only principle is for power. That's it. Anything to gain power. If you have to lie, cheat, and steal, you'll do it. And I never will forget, I think it was a Larry Elder clip that I saw. When Barack Obama won, one of the campaign people lied about Mitt Romney and something about Mitt Romney. And the reporter confronted this guy, not Obama. I think it was Obama. Yeah, it was Obama. This Obama spokesperson or surrogate. And all he said was, "Did we win?" That's all he cared about. And that to me, I don't know how old I was when Mitt Romney ran, 2012. That for me epitomizes everything about the Democratic Party. Their only question is, it don't matter if they lie, cheat, or steal. The only question they'll ask themselves is, did we win? And if it's not so, they'll find a new lie to perpetrate. And that's how I take it. That's just how I take it. But, let me know your thoughts and perspective in the comment section below. I would like to hear what you guys are thinking. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Please share this video if it's so inclined. It really does help me out in the algorithm. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.